Hey everyone, this is Sir Thekos back with another Kickstarter video, and this is about another project I'm currently backing. Yeah, I'm backing way too much, but that's the way it is. And this is oh, about Clash of Deck. Let me put in some focus here. A real free-to-play card game. So what does that mean? That means exactly what it says. It's a free-to-play card game. You only pay $2 for shipping, and that's it. As you can see down here, I backed it twice. I backed 2 decks, and I'm paying only €4 for that. That's a very interesting premise. So I was intrigued by this project, not because it's free to play, but it actually resembles what Kickstarter should be. What Kickstarter hasn't been the past few years, not as much as I'd like to at least. Um, so just before I get into the game and the project, um, what I mean with this Kickstarter idea is that nowadays a lot of games need to be deluxeified, have the best components, but be cheap, maybe have dozens of miniatures, and even be a little bit overproduced sometimes. Um, but I actually enjoy these projects the most where you can see that there is a vision, a really nice vision behind that. It's just a regular person having an idea, not able to distribute the game by him or herself, and then turning to a Kickstarter in hope for people like you and me believing in such a vision. And I think this resembles that pretty well. So let me give you a little rundown. If you would like to see some real gameplay for this game, I will link to a solo playthrough I did on Tabletop Simulator in the description, and also up here I will put some card, so you can click on that video and see how it actually plays as a solo game. So let me give you a quick rundown. What we have here is a game that resembles the trading or collectible card games, at least a little bit. So you have cards with mana costs, with attack, and with defense. And let me explain to you how this game is roughly played. So we have these cards here, and we have the watchtower. So let's imagine we have two players playing. Um, of course, there is a solo variant, as I said, and a little spoiler. I thoroughly, really enjoyed my solo playthrough of this game. So I will definitely play that more often, and I'm really looking forward getting the real copy into my hands as soon as the project will be fulfilled. One more side note, you see that even the sleeves don't quite fit because I don't have the correct size of sleeve, but you see that I printed out the game, which works very well. If you want to do that too, head to the Kickstarter page. There are the files for the print and play version. So even if you say €2 is too much for shipping, well, you can just print it yourself like that. So if you have a printer and a little bit of time on your hands, which is not a whole lot, you can also do that. So how the game is played. We have a few cards here. There will be a drafting mechanism. So after we shuffle the deck here, the two players will um, player 1 will draft one of these cards. Let's just take any card, whatever. And player 2 will take the other two cards. And player 1 will then take the last card that is left. And then the same drafting mechanism commences, just that player 2 will start with taking a card. Player 1 will then take the other two cards, and the last card will go to player 2. This will be continued until everyone has 8 cards. So now that's 4. Let's just put 8 cards into each player's hands. And that's pretty much it. So each player now takes all the cards that they have drafted and put the watchtower behind that. So like this, right? And that's how each player sets up their hand. Player 2 does exactly the same. And the two bridges are put right here in the middle. And that's the entire setup. Now, player 1 for example, starts, and now you see you have an entire hand here, and the players have as much mana they can use as like with the same number of cards they have in their hands. So this is going to be 9 cards now because the 8 cards from the beginning plus the Watchtower. So player 1 will have 9 mana they can spend to play units onto one of the 2 lanes on the left of the bridge. Um, it's only the 4 leftmost cards can be played, excluding the Watchtower. So, for example, player 1 would play this card for 7 mana, and the other 2 mana put 1 right there, for example. After that, the assault phase would happen. So the player would attack the other players, like either the other units or the watchtower of the player itself. Units that were just played cannot attack except if they have a specific attribute, a specific symbol for that, and this one has it, for example. So this one would deal 1 damage to this lane. There is no defending creature here, so the player watchtower would take 1 damage. So how do we indicate damage? Pretty simple. We don't need any counters. We just take the watchtower and put it and move it to the right for each point of damage. That was 1 damage here, so it would move 1 point to the right. Then player 2 would do the same thing. Player 2 has 9 mana in the beginning, 8 cards plus the Watchtower, and plays as many cards as they want to. So let's say they play the Golem here and the Mutant, which is actually a really good card. If you watch my solo playthrough on tabletops, I did on Tabletop Simulator, you see that I was steamrolling the AI with the Mutant. So that's still one thing I need to figure out if that card is too strong. And then the assault phase begins again. The mutant cannot attack the first round, but the golem can. So it deals 1 damage to that creature in the lane. So this continues with each player back and forth. And creatures always attack from the top, from the back. So the Slaughterer would now attack the Guardian. Then the Golem would attack both because he has a special ability for that. And the mutant would also attack both. And that would go back and forth until the watchtower of one player has moved to the right completely. If that's the case, the watchtower will be turned over to the stronghold and put back to the left. And then the entire game continues until the stronghold is on the very right. And when that happens, the other player has won the game. So it's a really simple game, but don't let that fool you. There is quite some strategy there. First of all, you have a very solid drafting mechanic in the beginning to actually set up your deck. Not all cards are used, so only half the cards are used. So you never know what's actually in the deck, and then you draft your own hand. And with that drafting mechanic, you also kind of, at least to some part, decide what cards the other player has. So that's a very clever way of incorporating the drafting mechanic into such a card game. And also the positioning, the lanes you have, kind of reminiscent of MOBAs or MOBA type of games, so to speak. So it's very fun. And I usually don't praise games that much if I don't really like them, but I really enjoyed the solo playthrough, and I can't wait to bring this to the table with other people to see how it plays with actual players. So if you're interested in the project, head over to my other video, which is linked in the description. Maybe I'll put it up here again with my solo playthrough, and also head over to the Kickstarter page. If you head over to the Kickstarter page, you can not only back it, I mean €2 is not a whole lot. If you back 2 decks, you can actually not only play the solo mode, but the dual mode for 2 players. So that's €4. which is totally worth it in my opinion. Also, the team behind Graham's Edition is constantly doing polls for the name of cards and things like that, so the community can actually take part in the decision process. So that's a really good thing. I already had contact with the developers. So yeah, you have nothing to lose. All right, if you have watched the video until now, then thank you very much for sticking through to the very end. If you have any further questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section. Otherwise, you can also contact me on Twitter. My handle is in the description of this video. All right, then thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. All right, take care, everyone. Bye bye.